Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me today in the locker room. I'm Alan Locher. Today we have two or three talented actresses who spent time causing a bit of trouble, and causing a bit of heartache in Oakdale. I'm looking forward to catching up with my friends today. Please welcome to the locker room, Cassandra Creech and Lauren B. Martin. I got tongue.
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
So good to see you both. So good. It's been years.
It's so good to see everybody.
You both look fantastic. When was the last time you two saw each other?
Lauren, probably when I left. Maybe before our last scene. I haven't. No.
We have seen each other through. I mean, as much as I sometimes abhor Facebook or for certain reasons,
sure.
One of the glorious things about, but I also love it because it is a glorious thing to be able to celebrate great milestones in our friends' lives and just sort of catch up. And so I think that once you go through what we all went through as just being on a show, it is a camp of sorts, and it's like a lifetime of memories. So there is a silent sort of nod that like, yeah. And so I'm so excited when I get to see people that I care for and that I went through, that camp with, doing great things in their lives. So,
well, one of our fans, Jeffrey, just said Lauren and Cassandra had the best smiles in daytime.
Well, thank you.
What was his name?
Jeffrey.
Thank you,
Jeffrey.
Doing the show, it was more like family for me. I remember going to the set every day and sharing a car with Larry Brigman. Okay. And the stories, that we would share, and just, as a young actor, just the guidance he would give me, it was more. And just speaking about him now, I'm catapulted back to that moment. So it's as if no time has passed. So seeing you, it's as if as no time has passed. I can remember the days on the set, and working, and even my first day on the set and seeing you. It's just embedded. So to me, there's been no distance, but it is wonderful to see you in person right now. It's exciting.
And I agree. I look at things. We went through watching people fall in love, literally on set, watching people get married, watching people get divorced. Larry Brigman, you mentioned his name, and he is just a love of my life, and taught me. I was a lucky girl to be playing volleyball with that man, and what he did for me.
Our other friend has arrived.
Yay!
Hi, y'all.
Hi, sister.
Hi. Hello.
Oh, so good to see you.
Good to see you.
It has been a long. Are you in California? Because I was telling Cassandra, you're out west, right?
I am, and I had to double check that. I was like, "Oh shit."
Honey,
it's okay.
I'm sorry.
We don't have censors. We don't have censors.
Wait, it's West Coast. Wait, it West Coast. So I got the little times mixed up, but we're here. We're good.
We're here, honey, and looking gorgeous as you do.
And she's got 3 kids, so she's got 3 kids to take care of as well.
Amazing.
Really?
Thank you for getting me away. Thank you for getting me away. Thank you.
And you must be homeschooling some, I would assume.
2 out of the 3, yes.
Wow.
God bless you. God bless you. God bless you.
Woo, child, that's a whole nother, we could. Thank God for prayerfully a new day next year.
Amen.
Yeah,
Amen.
let's pray for that. What's the hardest subject for you to teach?
The hardest, I have a 5-year-old. So being in kindergarten from 9 in the morning to 1:30 in the afternoon as a 40-something-year-old woman is rough.
Yep.
It's hard. It's hard to concentrate on kindergarten stuff.
Listen, I just took 5 16-year-olds away for the weekend for a Sweet 16 birthday party, and to every mother, and I'm big sis, and I help every mother I know basically puts their kids on FaceTime with me, like, go play with Auntie Lauren for 5 minutes while they can brush their teeth. God bless you. God bless you. God bless all the teachers.
Make sure I get your digits when this is over, Lauren.
You got
it.
It is amazing. I was actually speaking to my high school, my best girlfriend from high school just before we got on this, and talking about her sons who are in high school and teachers. To me, with everything going on in the pandemic, I mean, we need to get money to people who need money and food. But to me, the teachers deserve a raise so much for if they're, because some of them are having kids in class and then also doing this Zoom at the same time while they have to keep track of the kids in the class.
And then some of them have their own kids at home, so it's all of that. It's
well, we always knew that teachers deserved more,
for sure.
Yeah,
I'm a daughter of a school teacher, special ed teacher, and a daughter-in-law of a former school principal, and the idea that we don't pay our educators is not only ridiculous, but it's also reflective of what we're dealing with now,
of course,
in our country, with our lack of education and our education struggles as we deal with, more global and national issues. It is a reflection of what we do with our teachers in our classrooms and how little resources we put into them.
I'm older than all three of you, but I was actually laughing with my girlfriend about the fact that if this pandemic had happened when we were in school, we'd be dumb as doornails because we didn't have computers, we didn't have Zoom, we didn't have FaceTime. I mean, I don't know what we would have been doing. Yeah, exactly.
Well, thank God for flashcards.
Yeah. And phonics.
I'm still hooked on phonics, honey.
And phonics, yeah.
Oh my God. Let's go back in time. What do you all remember about hearing about the role on As the World Turns, your audition, your screen test, who you screen tested with? Lauren, if you want to go first.
Oh, okay. Wow. So I was in an interesting place because I was on Another World at the time. And so I was doing this recurring role on Another World, playing Denise Jenkins, and I've been going back and forth with that. And then the role of Camille came up, and because I was recurring, I had the opportunity to audition. So I remember screen testing, and I was so thankful for the little bit of knowledge that I had in the couple of months that I had played on Another World, for sort of getting a little precursor class to kind of how these things, how to work that room. And I remember leaving and thinking, like, okay, I did the best I can. So I go back and I end up, and I'm shooting on Another World, and I'm at the old Cosby Studios, the old NBC Studios, which As the World Turns and Another World both shot at.
Right.
Yep. And the funny thing about that is Brooklyn. I was in the same dressing room twice, which is interesting. So out of both shows, so I get a phone call from my manager at the time, and I'm getting called on set on Another World, and they're saying, Denise, Lauren, Denise Jenkins. And I'm in tears because my manager has called to tell me that I got the 3-year contract. And I'll never forget Tom Eplin in the stairway. He grabbed me and he said, what's the matter? And I said, I don't know I got the role. And he's like, what? He's like, he thought I meant the role on Another World. And I said, no, I'm leaving. And I don't, what do I hire? And he ended up making a big speech on set. He called a caterer. God bless him. He really makes me cry because he was so kind to me. And he called a caterer and had like a pizza party for me, and then he berated Another World for not keeping me longer. But and then years later, when he came on to As the World Turns, it was really, I got to welcome him the way that he did for me.
Oh,
so that was my
that's
story.
a great full circle.
Yeah.
Well,
Cassandra?
Okay, so I was on As Another World for a while. I played an attorney. I forgot the character's name, Alan. What was it? I forgot. But I don't think.
I don't know if I wrote it down.
Well, I missed you, sister.
But I was recurring on Another World. But when I got Denise Maynard Dixon, I lived across, the studios were on 57th? 57th. I lived across the street in a studio apartment, literally across the street.
Yep.
And I remember the studio because that was a studio that Tootsie was shot in, right? There was a scene with Dustin Hoffman, with, I think, what was her name? Not Terry Garr. They're walking out, and I just remember that studio from Tootsie for whatever reason. But the day of my screen test, I remembered because I lived in a studio apartment across the street from the studio, and it was a beautiful, bright, sunny day, and I just walked across the street, down into the dressing room downstairs. And I don't remember the other actress's name. I think a young lady was already on the show. And there were about 4 of us, and I went up, and Peter Paris screen tested, met me. He was the first person that I ran into, and we tested together, and it was just so easy. It was just such a wonderful alignment. We went in, we taped, and I came out, and then I just walked across the street. I walked home, literally across the street. Walked in, and then I got a call from Felicia.
Yep.
Nice.
And
Felicia Minnie Bear.
Yeah.
Felicia Minnie Bear, and she was also the first person that gave me, on my first day of the set, that gave me a tour of their entire studios.
Oh wow!
And I will always remember that. It was very nurturing for me as a young actor, and I also remember my first day on the set. I have the record for recording the most number of scenes, and that was 43 guys. 43 scenes in one day.
Boom.
Welcome to Oakdale.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am. But
I'm surprised you have hair left.
Right.
But you know what? That's what's so amazing about when we were talking about family before. It was just when you have such great actors, Larry Brigman, from that old school group, Broadway actors, and it's about the work, and they see that you're new, and they're talking you through this, and there's no competitiveness, and I really appreciated that, and that has stuck with me.
Our stage managers and our team of people were tremendous. I mean, people still don't know. I think people who don't understand, they have such a connotation about daytime, and they don't understand that you could have 45, 50 pages yourself a day. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that, in New York, there was no teleprompters, and mm-hmm. we had to, sometimes you'd get a cut. You remember those days where this show would run long, and you'd have to cut from line 72 to here. Mm-hmm. And it was the best to see the people that we got a chance to work with and learn from, and the caring that everybody mm-hmm. had, and that when they were really tough and difficult days, our makeup and our hair department and our stage managers were doing everything that they could to help us get mm-hmm. through the day. We were very lucky.
Cassandra,
I remember,
you played Dana Cramer.
That's who it was.
And one of our fans asked if your first scene was slapping Dr. Ben Harris. Do you know, was it?
Yes, it was. I slapped him on the booty. And then you came up, Miss Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
That was so much fun. I had the shades. Yeah. I remember that, with the shades leaning in, and but that couldn't have happened if I didn't have the experience of talking with the other actors before, and just getting the feel. I felt it was just a good environment. When you feel comfortable, it's easy for you mm-hmm. to create and play. That's right. In the space. That's you know what I mean? So, and that goes with me onto every set till this day. Every day, there's conversations with Larry Brigman in the car in the morning, with me on set every day. So, those are life lessons on the set. For sure. For sure. And definitely life lessons.
Napiera, for you.
Screen test day? Is that what we're doing? Like,
Yeah.
Because I went into all kinds of stuff listening to you guys' stories. A screen test day. I flew in from LA to test, and
did they have you screen test with somebody?
Yeah, I think Toon. I think Tamar Tooney. I think I did screen test with Toon. No,
lucky lady.
No, I didn't.
No,
I didn't. I screen test with Paul.
Okay.
Oh, Paul.
Which Paul? Paul Ryan? No, who played Paul Ryan?
He played Isaac.
My Paul.
Oh, Paul Taylor. Yeah, Paul
Taylor.
Paul Taylor. Yeah.
Paul Taylor. And we, because they wanted to check chemistry. And so I came in, I got to tell you, I didn't know what was going on. I had never watched As the World Turns. My grandmother was an ABC soap person. So you had your allegiance that I grew up watching on her couch. And so I knew nothing about CBS soaps. And so in a way that it was very freeing. And I was really young. I tell everyone all the time when we talk about the pages and all that stuff. I just did an interview with someone just recently, and they were asking me about training and stuff. And I was like, yeah, after college, this was basically like, I did an off-Broadway show. And then this was like my next kind of big thing. And I was about 1.5 years out of college, and it was like grad school for me. I tell people all the time, it was the best grad school I could possibly have, because not only was I working with these great New York actors, but I was getting trained in a way that furthered my education as far as like how to block it all out and just be about the work and only worry about your, get your work done, and you can still be in a friendly environment, but like knock it out. You got to knock it out, and there's no excuses. And like Lauren said, there's really nobody can kind of take that away from you, that kind of training, no matter where you go, no matter what you do. I was very, very grateful, and still am to this day, for like that time. But yeah, I screen tested with Paul, but then like I screen tested a lot of different people, like Lamont Rucker. I screen tested. I remember Laz Alonso screen tested to be like some love interest of mine or something. I don't know. They were nerve-wracking. Zena Camblin, who I went to high school with, who's one of my dearest friends, screen tested that day. She's a writer. I don't know if you guys know Zena. She went to Juilliard. She's a television writer now. Yeah. But she was like, what am I doing here? I don't want to be here. She had this wig cocked to the side. I could tell this story. Zena's very tomboyish, and she had this like wig cocked over to the side. She was like, am I supposed to be like Valley? But she's a great actress. She went to Juilliard. She was wonderful, and she did her thing. But when it was all over, she and I were like kikiing and cacking. And so I think that kind of helped me too, because I had a really good friend from high school also there. And it just so happened I got it. It was just.
Wow, that's so great. And then, it doesn't hurt that your mom was Tamara Tooney, as you mentioned earlier.
Still my fairy godmother. She's very much so a part of my family to this day, and we're very, very close. So yeah,
she's tremendous, and she's got some big news. She's got some big news on the horizon too. I'm excited for her. So
she just she just announced the Netflix series. Yeah. I don't know the name.
Tell me, what is it?
I don't know the name. I don't know the name.
It's a live version of an
Bebop Cowboy.
Yes.
Of what?
Of Bebop Cowboy, which was an anime series that my husband is a huge fan of. And so he was like, wait, Auntie Tooney's in that? He's like, super
Napier, what do you think you learned from her?
Then or now?
Both. Go for it.
Well, then she was kind of no tolerance back then. She was very like, first of all, they shoved this 20-something-year-old person that's all of a sudden her kid. She went from having like a 7-year-old kid to
in a week
to a 20-something-year-old, kid. And
what that's called, right? In daytime, SORAS, soap opera rapid aging syndrome.
Right. Yes. And so at first, I'm not so sure Miss Tooney was all about that life. She was like, wait. But she was wonderful to me always. And she embraced me, but she really was about like, yo, let's handle our business. Let's do our thing and be out. And so she was very, with that kind of discipline, and then the work ethic. And I already feel like I was kind of a hard worker. So I feel like that was an even better environment for me to be in, because it was like, yeah, you're on the right track, keep going. So I learned that from her then. But over the years, I've learned grace.
Yeah.
Of course.
With her. I've learned grace. I've learned no matter what, keep your class, stay classy.
Yeah.
Because the business is the business, stay classy. So I'm appreciative of that.
Lynette McKee taught me, definitely was as a screen legend herself. Having Lynette as a mom was
one of the fans just asked, so I'm glad you brought her up.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
I mean, Lynette is what an interesting. Our relationship was
what was her character's name? I'm blanking.
Sarah Ruth.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And so the funny thing, speaking of Felicia Minnie Bear, so what ended up happening, very quick story. So they had cast another woman to play my mom, and I had shot a day's worth of scenes with this lovely woman who I had at that point figured like, okay, well, I'm going to be maternal with her. I didn't see the resemblance. I didn't see any of that, but I was like, okay, well, they know what they're doing. They cast this person. So the next day I come to set and I get a note from Nancy, who is our stage manager, who I love very much, Nancy Barron, who I'm still very close with. Mm-hmm. And she caught me on the way into the studio and she's like, we got big news for you. And I said, okay, didn't know what it was. So they tell me that we're going to reshoot everything from the day before, but they don't tell me why. And I, of course, I'm a young actor and I'm thinking, oh my God, did I do something wrong? Did I not do oh no. And I see this woman and I look at her and I look at me and I look at her and I look at me and I'm saying like, okay, wow. All right. She looks like me and I look like her. And it's Lynette McKee, and my knees are knocking because I've seen her in so many Spike Lee movies and I know who she is and I'm so in awe of her. But Felicia Minnie Bear took a screenshot with both cameras of Lynette and I acting up. And of course, we're both wise asses and we were having a great time. And our facial expressions and our hand gestures mirrored one another. And we knew kind of at that point that I would definitely be kind of following. Our beats were following our steps. But she was another gift, truly, to me, not only as an actress that I look up to, as a very empowered woman, a very outspoken woman, and also as a vocalist. She was producing music for me for a period of time, and
oh, wow.
I will forever be in debt to her for sure.
Is she
great.
New York?
She's still with us. Yeah.
Still with us? Is she in New York?
I don't know where she is. I think she was in Florida for a bit, in LA for a bit. We've got people in common, but I haven't got to catch up with her in a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I had some good fun with her too. I remember when I started, there was that whole dynamic of her always giving me the side eye, her character.
Right.
Giving Denise the side eye when it comes to you and Peter. Or Big Ben, I should say.
Yes.
So that was always
Dr. Ben.
Dr. Ben.
Dr. Ben. Why
so
don't we
fun playing with that dynamic with her. So
yeah.
Why don't we stay on Dr. Ben? Why don't you all share some Peter stories, working with Peter?
Oh my God! Just hearing his name just now just made me go, oh my God! So warm. He's one of my best. Pleasant thoughts about that show and working there. Peter was just always so good and just
a true gentleman.
And so giving and easygoing and like don't sweat the small stuff kind of. Again, and just for a kid that just came out of college, I have to say they had to be like the best people to be working with.
For sure. He and I. And certainly Cassandra as well, I'll just always remember Peter's, the fans, when they would see initially Ben and Camille, and it was Ben and Camille and Ben and Camille, and we were so grateful for that. And then I would always look back, and I would see Jerry, his wife, and I would just be like, Jerry, like, because she was so patient with that energy that was coming, and people's very proprietary sense of ownership that they had over, as when you're kind of in a couple. But we laughed a lot. I mean, with all the awkward, crazy things that you have to do as actors, we laughed a lot, and we had some of the best heart-to-heart conversations just about life. And I trusted him implicitly. So I think that is something that you always hope for in any kind of co-star, is that you get to a place with them that you trust them so much. And for Peter, I always will. And I'm so overjoyed to see, first of all, one of the finest men in television continuing to do his business. And, he just doesn't age. He's just a gorgeous man. I'm so happy.
Did both of you guys date Dr. Ben? Both of your kids?
Yeah. I was engaged to him.
Yeah.
Oh,
for a while.
I missed that. He was kind of sneaky then. He was all over the place. He gets with my
He was, Dr. Ben was a player.
He was with your mother. Yeah.
Oh, was he with? Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I know him to be stepdad, Dr. Ben.
Yes. He was my
goodness.
childhood. We sang church in the church together.
Oh,
okay.
Church together, and we're in love. And then all of a sudden, Miss Denise comes into town.
I just show up,
waving her hips back and forth.
That was a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun, and I don't think again you can't create that unless you have that kind of relationship.
For sure.
That trust offset. That makes it much easier to play in the space. So.
Napiera, Kenya, one of our fans just said, Jessica Griffin and Bonnie McKechnie are the best mother and daughter of all time.
Oh,
that's nice. What do you remember about working with your dad? You got a little time with Michael Swan, Duncan McKechnie.
Not enough. Absolutely not enough time. Yeah. He was there the whole first week of my shooting, which again was like one of those things where I shot a quadrillion scenes. Like my first day, I think I shot all day long, about 8 scenes. I don't even know.
It's like welcome to New York. It's like throw them into the fire.
40 or 50 pages, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. But it wasn't enough. I feel like that, if I'm allowed to say so, I just feel like that felt like a void that kind of could have been explained a little bit more, just because he was apparently a big part of that Jessica storyline prior. So to bring their daughter back and kind of not have him. And I think when we went to Scotland, there was a storyline where we kind of went off to Scotland because I was a duchess or something.
Of course you were.
Of course you were.
Of course I was a Black Scottish duchess. But I kind of was like, he was so great, but you could tell he was like, what? Right. But he was really great, and I really wish I could have had a little more time with him.
Sometimes shows don't always get it right, but they try.
They do, and I knew what they were doing, but I just wish,
Oh, I know fans would have loved it. I mean,
oh my gosh, he's just wonderful.
Well, it's the thing of like you said, I mean, Bonnie's a character that was born on the show. So people are invested, it's just they're invested in the mother and the father and then the children. And so it just generations continue. Who or what influenced the three of you on becoming actors and following this path?
Cicely Tyson for me.
Ooh, a specific role? It
was, I remember this to the day. I was, oh my gosh, maybe 5 or 6. And it was it the Autobiography of Jane Pittman? I think it was, she starred in. Yeah. And I was at my grandmother's house in North Carolina out on the farm. And just old wooden floor, TV, after the news, everyone sits around watching the news. That was the thing, everyone watched the news. And then there was an airing of the show, and I remember sitting in front of the TV looking at Cicely Tyson because she ages she starts out really young, and to me that, and her talent of storytelling, and I was so mesmerized by her, and also just her compassion and her it was so simple to me, and she seemed it was so palpable, her portrayal. And I was just sitting there going, and it just, it just resonated when that's what you're supposed to be doing. You don't know how, but you're like, that's it. I don't know what that is, even as a child. I don't know what that is, but that's it.
Right.
And she started off like the three of you on your sister show. She was on Guiding Light.
Yep.
Really?
Oh,
wow. Yeah. And she's still working. She's still working.
Did you see her play Viola's mother on
Yes. Of course. She's still working.
Amazing.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
So that was, that moment. I remember it was sitting on the wood floor and looking up at that black and white TV and going, yep, that's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah.
Lauren or Napiera?
Mine was, I was taken to the Wiz when, I was taken to the Wiz when I was probably 8 or so. And I remember, so there was a twofold to this whole thing. Years before, I'd been taken to go see Annie. And this makes me sort of sad and joyful at the same time. And shout out to Martha Byrne because of all her years with Annie. But I remember going to Annie and saying, a little girl, and saying, like, I want to be Annie one day. And I remember a family friend kind of in a sweet way saying, well, it might be a little while before a little brown-skinned girl plays Annie. Maybe you can play one of the other characters. And I remember that just really bothered me. And it obviously was affecting me. And then The Wiz came along. And I got to sit in that audience, and I had the honor of seeing Miss Stephanie Mills, this just tiny powerhouse of this woman, just sing from the rafters, and just there was a sense that there was magic, and there was magic that would envelop everybody, and that somewhere in that world maybe I could find a place to stand. And I really never had my big Broadway moments. I ended up being a singer and signed, and a background singer for some pretty big artists. And then I love every once in a while the acting and the music do get to converge, and that's magic to me. But that was my moment. And then from that moment, I really wanted to learn and watch anybody that had, that had some sort of grounding in the industry. But that was the first moment for me.
I'm going to go back to Sicily for a moment. Our fan Donald just told me that she was the first contract Black actress on Guiding Light.
Yeah.
So she paved the way for probably, the three of
all
you.
of us.
All of us.
And she's still paving the way. She's still.
Well, to be working at that age is just.
It's extraordinary.
And in such amazing roles. Napier, for you?
I don't know the exact moment, but I do know my family will tell you it was between two people. It was either between John Travolta and Saturday Night Fever, for which I kept telling my parents at the age of 3 and 4, please take me back. I want to see. They said we had to go about 3 or 4 times. So, but I think I more so remember Barbra Streisand. And
yes.
I remember because a family member.
If you say Yentl.
Even before Yentl, it was something. It was like funny.
I hope it was Funny Face.
Funny Face, yeah.
Funny Girl, you mean?
Funny Girl.
Yeah. Okay.
I remember one of my family members said, my aunt was like, "Oh," because I sang and danced around like Little Magic a lot, and she was like, "Come here, Streisand, with that nose." And and so I looked back at the TV and I was like, yeah, I do look like her. And from that moment on, Barbra Streisand was my like,
wow.
And I I have a degree in musical theater, but I went to school of creative and performing arts in Cincinnati, starting at 11. Prior to that, I was singing and dancing all over the place. And you just couldn't tell me that one was without the other. I didn't know that you were only an actor. I didn't know you were only a singer.
Right.
I didn't know you were only a dancer. In my mind, you did it all because that's what Barbara Streisand did, and you know, maybe John Travolta, but mainly Streisand. And so I just knew I wanted to do that. And I went through stages where I didn't know if I wanted to do it for the rest of my life, but it certainly carried me through college.
She's still on the top of your list?
She is top 5 of people I want to sit down and have dinner with.
Nice.
And she's top 5 women in this industry that I absolutely love and admire because of just the many different roles she's played in the business.
She's got chutzpah, or guts.
She's got gravitas. I would say that. For sure.
Yeah, and she has vision, and she's been told no a lot, and she's been told she's not pretty enough, and she's been told all kinds of things.
She's probably gotten the same thing about the nose.
Oh, yeah.
And she's a pretty good director. She's a very good director.
Oh, God.
Yeah, she's
I wish she would do more. I wish she would do more.
Too. Yeah.
With 3 little ones at home, Napiera, are there any signs of somebody following in mom's footsteps?
Oh my God, I thought not. I thought I had escaped. And then my 12-year-old, literally, it's funny, the other day we're applying to new schools and stuff. And I said, well, what is one of your passions? And, bless her heart, she's a Pisces, and she kind of got quiet and she looked down, and you could tell she didn't really want to, what she thought may be disappointing to me, but she goes, I really like acting in theater.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, yeah. And she's like, yeah. I was like, okay, cool. Because she's been in Shakespeare stuff and all that stuff, but she's never shown that she loves anything. She's never, but this time this year, I could tell, I could see it coming, and she broke it to me. And so now I think, I have to nurture it and support it. I'm scared to death of it for her.
Listen, she has you. There isn't a class, when we all came up, there wasn't kind of a, here's how you do this. And the wonderful thing is that all the kids, I teach every once in a while. I think all of us have mentored in some aspect of our careers, and hopefully continue to. All the things that are only going to, you're the essence of being a mom at the same time of watching a career, but how gifted and how lucky she can be to have someone like you who's navigated this landscape. So you got to give her, if she's got that fire, there's nothing you're going to be able, especially if she's a Pisces, there's nothing you're going to be able to do to stop it. So.
I went through this stage where I could show up on TV. She don't think about it twice. And now just this past year, I've heard her telling people, yeah, my mom's in that. My mom did that show. My mom did it. And I was like, what's happening right now?
That's great.
Or one of her friends would be like, yeah, I saw you. Jay told me. And I'm like, she did? So, we'll see. You will see. It's just passion right now.
But hey, and it's good to have one of those. Yeah.
That's how it starts, yeah.
Yeah.
Cassandra, you worked with the director of Saturday Night Fever, right? On Crossing Jordan?
John Badham?
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
Oh.
I did. And talk about, and I'm starting to see a theme now that you mentioned him. He was very much, and I keep going back to Larry Brigman, that old school from that generation of teachers, and not, and more about the work. And I remember when I was cast for that role, and we were doing the table read, and John came up to me and said, I really wanted you for this. And just the nuances he gave in terms of directing was, I don't know how to explain it. It was just nurturing. It's just nurturing. You're nurturing actors on the set. You're not about trying to make a product or anything. It's about nurturing the scene and taking your time from that school, and I think Larry was from that. I think Cicely was from that. I think Viola has some of that as well, because she worked with Meryl, her first big break, and Meryl took it under her wing. So when you work with actors from that generation, which is there's that thing, that thing that they want to share with everybody else and is not for themselves. And John had that. So
it's interesting too.
And he's a cool guy, a very cool guy, very smooth, very slick.
It's interesting at World Turns, because you and Lauren spent time with Larry Brigman. Cassandra, you also, Don Hastings and Kathy Hayes.
Oh, Don.
Napiera's godmother was the one and only Eileen Fulton on the show, and Tamara Tooney as her mother. Like you really, the three of you were thrust into work with people who had been there, people who could nurture you if that's what you wanted to accept.
Everything that Cassandra's saying and everything that you're saying and Napiera, what I will say for a generation of younger actors, that kindness and that willingness and that, Eileen Fulton, every single day she showed up to that set dressed to the nines.
Oh, I loved her.
She walked into the room like air, like cotton candy and covered in diamonds. And she just said
with
hello.
A snap.
Yes.
She said hello to everybody, from the door person to the janitor. There was a graciousness about her that is something that somehow in this industry can sometimes get lost. And her generosity, I look at like my Ellen Dolan. I love that woman. I look at Elizabeth Walsh. Elizabeth Hubbard. Sorry, I was going to say Lucinda Walsh. Elizabeth Hubbard.
Oh, that's right. Oh, my
Martha
goodness.
Byrne. Martha Byrne has been a real big sister to me in so many aspects of life. But that kindness that Cassandra, you were talking about, Napiera, you were talking about, I believe that environment that we came from, I hope that whenever I get the luck, and I really consider it to be a lucky day whenever I get to do what I feel is my God-given gift, and I think all of us feel the same whenever we get to be on a set, we get to do a job. It's a lovely thing. And with all the no's, when a yes comes through, that kindness and that joy, I like to approach every set that way, and I certainly learned that from these wonderful people, for sure.
Yeah, you all worked. I mean, Cassandra, you worked with Martha a lot because of the baby story, and Scott DeFreitas.
Oh yeah, that was
your baby daddy.
My baby daddy. Oh, I remember the birth scene. Wow, that was pretty powerful. Do you remember that flashback? The birth flashback.
I do. Yeah. I do.
Do you? God, that was intense. Yeah.
What do you remember about Scotty? Some of the fans were asking.
I really wanted to develop that relationship more with him, because it was, especially in terms of the interracial aspect of it. And I think it would have been wonderful to explore that then, and to be the first show to do that. But we just didn't quite get there. And
they did it with Napiera's parents.
Well, they did it with me. They did it with me and Brad too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But I guess they consider. I guess for me, being a mixed woman, it didn't go over. I think that the network thought it was going to be this very thing, and then the fans were like, "Oh, okay." So when that came together, so I will say for As the World Turns, for sure. As far as we had a lot of things that we had the first Black church on a daytime show that
didn't the church burn down?
The church did burn down by a racist man, if you remember correctly.
Yes.
But we had the legendary Andre DeShields. Played our pastor. I had and Alan, I'm going to need your help for this. I've been looking for this episode for years. I had the distinct and utter honor. I still get goosebumps when I think about it, of singing with the Winans on the show.
They were on the show?
They sang with me. I sang with them in the choir.
BB and Cece, these guys? Oh, really?
The Winan family, not BB and Cece, the Winans.
Okay.
And I got in so much trouble that day because every time they would start to sing, I would start to cry. And I'll never forget, Chris Goutman was like, "Get it together." I was like, "Okay." You know, but
Chris Goutman, wow.
We had some interesting firsts as far as
Milltown Baptist, and then Teague was who burnt it down.
That's right. That's right.
God, the fans remember every detail.
Wow.
I love it.
That's amazing.
Well, you know who was on with Helen Wagner in the 80s? Lauren Hill. She worked with Helen Wagner.
Yes.
What was that like? What was the scene?
Helen taught her how to read. Lauren, I don't remember exactly, but she didn't read, so Helen was like her, you know, like a friend and coach.
You know, I do wish I kind of knew what the barometer for the race subjects on World Turns. I don't know if just World Turns, but for some of the soaps at that time, where I know I was there in early 2000s, but it just feels like certain things they were like so like breakthrough on, like people were calling me all kinds of racist names out of the blue, and they just did not care. They were like, Scottish Duchess, dark skinned, let's go. Yep. White, dark skin, she's let's go. They didn't care. They were like plowing through that. And I thought that was amazing. But then there was like this one moment where like Paul, what's the other Paul?
Taylor?
Paul Layden?
No, I don't think Paul Layden.
He played Paul
Ryan. So I don't know which one. Was it? It wasn't Roger Howarth, maybe Scott Holroyd?
Scott Holroyd and I had this like kind of intersection where they were leaning towards a romance there, and it was like they got kind of scared off of that. And
let me tell you, we had a year, if Kevin Mambo, we had a year that was pretty powerful. One year all of the Black actors in daytime walked the red carpet together.
Monty Sharp.
My love. I love him. But we had a moment where, you know, we weren't being, it wasn't as if everybody was feeling like being ungrateful, but it was just the idea that love scenes didn't really happen the way that they happened for the white couples' weddings. You didn't see many, you didn't see as big or as affluent of weddings. And there were some times where, you know, there was a time where we all kind of got together, and I remember we had a panel discussion with Procter & Gamble about it. And some of it went over well and some of it maybe not. So, yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. I don't know if I remember that.
Yeah.
Well, since we're on the subject, I know Lauren and Cassandra had asked, so Napiera, I think I know you. I just wanted to talk about the Black Lives Matter. I kind of was curious for all three of you, what it was like growing up, in the sense of like, what do you remember about what your parents taught you about race and the color of your skin? Just so others, you know, because I think it's really interesting how, you know, I would never know that. I would never have that conversation. And I think it's important that people understand what those kinds of conversations you have. I mean, you have 3 children. You're going to have to, you know, have certain conversations.
So this last movement of Black Lives Matter over the summer was, it's all been painful. We've had tons of experiences over the last few years, particularly since we've had cell phones. So a lot of that has been painful. But this last time was the hardest because I had to look at my children's face, and I have a middle schooler that knew what was going on. I have a 5-year-old boy and a 1-year-old boy who I know at one point will not be just cute anymore. They will, once they're past a certain age, will be considered a threat. Mm-hmm. And that has been fueling me even more so. Not that I needed to be fueled to be outspoken on the issues of race, but it certainly has made me less tentative about other people's feelings as it concerns, you know, us moving forward past people's feelings and really actually being active and being progressive and making a change. So it's been hard, but it's, you know, the other side of it is that it's been progressive. And so hopefully it's made some people understand that we have to move now. We can't just talk about it. We have to be about it. I don't want to look back up again 5 years from now and have to keep explaining this to my children that I was explained to as a child. You know, when I'm from Cincinnati, there were neighborhoods we couldn't go in. I'm young enough and old enough to remember we couldn't go in because after a certain time, Black folks don't go over there. We don't go to Norwood. So to have to now still continue that all these years later has been extremely disappointing. And there's not enough money in the world that has changed that or can change that, not enough success in the world that can change that. So what this movement has meant to me, particularly as an artist, is that I must move forward in my craft in making sure that we are aware and that we are active and that we never shut up about it.
Right.
And that's why I asked those questions. You know, I think it's important just for any, you know, conversations, educate us all.
Yeah. And thank you for asking, Alan. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And this is how it begins, by willing to have the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think I'm in a bubble with my mother right now. And I grew up in North Carolina, small town in the South. And, but my town in some ways was very progressive, but I also know that we lived on the other side of the tracks. Okay. But whenever I wanted to take dance classes, voice lessons, if I was in a beauty pageant, I had to go across the tracks to compete. So there was that awareness. And I was talking to my mom about this, and she was saying, you know, Cassandra, we've been here before, but this is much uglier. Mm. And I was thinking, and I was on a hike, and I was thinking, why is it so much uglier now? And things keep showing up for them to be healed. Okay. Mm-hmm. And we didn't heal it then. And for whatever reason, it's this thing, just like with Procter & Gamble, you were talking about in the soaps, unwilling to put their feet in the pool and deal with this whole race and interracial, you know, dynamics. And now it's going to keep showing up. And now it's here. It's really here, whether it's putting a knee on somebody's neck or someone saying something, a Confederate flag, it's here. And I think this is a very teachable moment. And I think this is the last teachable moment.
I agree.
Okay.
From your lips.
Yeah, but I can feel it. I'm sure you all feel it. I'm in California. I'm sure you felt it in New York. There's a shift that's happening. And it's not anything, we've been here before, but this is different. And I think what's different about it is that we are talking about it. And we have to be willing to see where it goes. And some of us will come along and some won't.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed.
And we can't change them. And I think we have to stop. People have to be willing to change. And some people aren't. And we can't keep going backwards. We have so many people that are waiting to move forward. How many times do we have to continue to keep going backwards? Right. Okay, we have to keep going forward. And that's the way I look at it. And I think this is what the Black Lives Movement is about. It's about moving forward. What's next? We've been there before. We keep showing up. It keeps coming up. We're ready. We're sitting here. We're ready to take the next step. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But we need some help.
Yeah.
Yep. And Lauren, talk about the essays that you're.
So I think I shouldn't be so privy to think that most people know, but I think a lot of people know my background. I'm Jamaican, Irish, Scottish. My story's sort of been interesting as a white passing Black person. You know, my dad was one of the first Black judges in Massachusetts. My dad was a speechwriter for the Kennedys and came through being an active member of civil rights. We just had an honor for my dad back in Boston in regards to his affiliation with Martin Luther King. But being a person that people, Thank you. No, my dad just turned 94, so I'll send it to you. It's really it's a
Hi,
very
Dad. Congrats.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very blessed. They're watching, I think, so it's very blessed to have him here. But being a person that, unfortunately, people say the worst things because they don't assume that I'm of color. And I have been privy to some of the most terrible underbellies of people because of that. So part of my journey, I had decided at some point that I was going to kind of unpack some of my own pain. My maternal family chose not to accept me my entire life. So I never met any of my mother's cousins or any of my cousins. And so, and some of them lived as close as 20 minutes to 30 minutes away. They made an active choice when my mother was with a Black man that was it. And so, you know, when I unearthed all of that information and I did my ancestry, it brought up another wave of what I was feeling, while I certainly was watching a world unfold that I see all the young Black men in my family, which were predominantly on my paternal side, young men, and worry about them constantly. You know, I have watching what Jada and Will talk about. Jada's my cousin. What they get to talk about and the voice that they get to be in this movement. I've had the honor of speaking in front of the NAACP in honor of my family as well. There's a ton of work to do, and there's a ton of conversations. I've had people reach out to me during this time, and it's not to be the token friend, but it's to be the friend that is, you know, maybe the lighter cup of coffee that's easier to sip for a moment, to sort of have that conversation of how do I explain this to my kids. And we do have an ability to make change, but we have to see it. And if that means that you're only hanging out with people who look like you and sound like you, this is what I tell any of my white friends, then you're doing yourself a disservice, you're doing humanity a disservice, you're doing your children a disservice. We have to start seeing that we are closer than we are a divide. And if we don't understand that the same humanity that you expect for yourself, if a Black man or a Black woman or a brown person of any nature can't receive that, then this is not a united nation. And that's just how I look at it.
Thank you three for sharing that. I appreciate that. You mentioned Jada. I just wanted to make you laugh. Supposedly, she is named after an actress who was on the soap opera The Doctors, whose name is Jada Rowling. And they didn't know that that's how she pronounced her name, so she ended up Jada.
Well, I will have to ask Cammy if that's the case.
I had Jada on, and she said that she heard that story that Jada's mother named her after her.
Very funny. Well, I will get back to you about that.
From a soap watcher. One of our fans, Jacarius, just wants to tell you ladies that he loves all of your work.
Thank you, Jacari. Thank you.
Napiera, how has motherhood changed your life?
Oh, well, it just turned it inside. Because you gotta understand, I became a mom. You know, I'm like, you know, I didn't become a mom until I was late 30s, and so to have three now in where I'm at now is just like, ooh.
You're like this. You're with the art juggling.
I'm like, wait, no, I still have my New York life. What happened? No, it has changed my life in a very, very positive way. It has made it hectic, yes, but it's also made me, in my craziness, much more organized, much more focused on things outside of like just my own personal desires and love. And it takes me out of me, which, you know, it's not like I've all been about me, but I'm an only child, and I was single for a long time, it was career oriented for so long. So it it just naturally moves you out of that. So that's actually been refreshing. That's actually been a gift from God. The organization thing, I am still a work in progress, but organizing 5 people's lives is challenging.
It's a skill.
Yeah.
It's a skill.
And my kids, my kids are very different in age. There's 12, there's 5, there's 1. They each are kind of only children themselves. They need very specific needs that I can't just shove them in the same pile together, which makes it a little more challenging. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I spent a lot of time always asking for people around me. I was alone a lot. And so Christmas is now, well, maybe not this Christmas, but when we could have, my husband's family and cousins.
Hey, there's still going to be 5 people in your house at least.
Huh?
There's still going to be 5 in your house, whether it's anybody outside. Family of 5 is pretty large.
Yes, it's still the house, and it still has folks in it, and I'm grateful. I'm tired, but I'm grateful.
You look good, Mama.
Yeah, you look fantastic. With this pandemic, is there something you each learned about yourselves that you didn't already know? Did it teach you something?
I have a lot of unmatched socks. And I'm okay with that.
For me, I've learned the value of simplicity. I just am simplifying everything. And in that simplicity and finding that simplicity, it's been such an ease of wonderful things coming in.
Good.
And it's not easy. It's not easy taking things away. It's not easy.
That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I've learned that that too much baking is just what I thought, bad on your hips.
But it's mighty delicious, I gotta tell you.
It's fabulous, but God, dog, you're running 8 miles just to keep all of this stuff off.
I love that. I know it's a little difficult now with everything that's going on, but tell us about some of the things that you're working on. Lauren, I know all of those series that, the streaming series. Tell us about them.
So real quick with those, I have Anacostia is we are going to try to come back as soon as we can, and as soon as we're safe to do that, which I love me some Anthony Anderson. We're waiting to see what will happen with Asunder and Miss Landra to see. Again, so much of it is kind of caught in the what is safe for us. Paper Empire is another show that is Denise Richards and Anna Archer and Steve Gutenberg, and we've been working on that for a bit now. But there's a show that I created that is called Reality Sets In, that is a comedy series, and co-wrote it with my partner, Scott Brooks. We have now got through the closed captioning portion, which you have to go through to be able to get streaming. So
and the trailer's up on Facebook, so you can
the
search.
Trailer is up on
Reality
Facebook.
Sets In.
What's it called? What's it
Thank
called?
you. Reality Sets In.
Okay.
And so that is a sort of comedic, dramatic look at being an actress of a certain age and with certain things going on in their lives. And it's a funny take on that. So hoping that'll come to fruition soon, and getting the wonderful opportunity to do Forever in a Day, our sort of podcast.
Yeah, the new podcast. Yeah, Forever
soap
in a
opera.
Day.
And looking forward to
That's streaming everywhere. You can find Forever in a Day on all streaming platforms.
Always a publicist, this guy. And
Wait,
so
what is this? I don't know. What is Forever in a Day? I haven't.
It's a radio soap opera.
Yeah.
You're going back
Oh.
old school on streaming platform.
And
Oh,
I
that's
play
clever.
I play a very, 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 very dark and dramatic lady named Dominique. So yeah.
Dominique.
Yeah.
Oh,
Super
how
fun.
clever.
Super fun. And other than that, just trying to carve out the time to get back to writing. It is my dream to write a Christmas movie, and I will do it.
Why a Christmas movie?
Because I have a problem with Christmas decorations. Have you seen my house on Instagram?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to shamelessly plug really quickly. And guys, I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to probably pop off soon.
I want to just hear from everybody, but go ahead.
Amazing. I have my dear friend, the one that we were talking about earlier. Please, everybody watch Mr. Christmas on Netflix if you need some Christmas inspiration, because it is the best show on Netflix. And that's my dear friend, Ben.
Great. And Cassandra, what about you? What are you?
I'm following my bliss. I'm still in the actor world. I am up for a few projects right now, and that's about it. I have a wonderful. What's a what?
What's it like auditioning? You do it all from home, correct?
Oh, I love it. I love it. I have my whole setup, my whole studio at the house. So, and I'm sure you guys have all done it. And it beats having to drive around LA.
If you ever need a reading partner, call me. Both of you.
It's wonderful. And I got to tell you, it's been much busier now for me than before, because I think people are this whole doing everything online studio. Again, it cuts back on time. It certainly cuts back on costs. I also have a wonderful company called Creature Canine Hiker, where I work with sometimes with the military or the police training their canines. That's my private, not really a side hustle, but it's my bliss. I have a connection with animals that keeps me grounded. And I find that when I'm on set and I'm talking with different people, that they kind of work well together. And so that's been a wonderful partnership. And I'm just doing my passion. That's it. I'm just showing up. That's it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
And Napiera, you're spending a lot of time behind the scenes, aren't you? Doing a lot of producing.
I think she's frozen.
Napiera?
I think she's frozen, Alan.
She's frozen.
Oh, she's frozen on my end, I think.
Yeah.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. She's frozen on my end too. But she's frozen in a gorgeous face.
In a gorgeous. She looks fantastic. Here she is.
There she is. Uh-oh, she's frozen again.
I'm sorry, my internet is terrible right now. I don't know what's happening.
There you go. I was saying you're spending a lot more time. Yes, you're spending a lot more time producing, right?
I'm producing, and I'm producing, and I'm
she's producing so many things.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Napiera's internet keeps going out.
Well, you have to get a list of what she's doing, and then
I will post it. Napiera, send me a message. If there's things you want me to promote, I will put them up on the YouTube page and on my Facebook page. I have loved seeing the three of you so much.
It's so good to see you.
Those smiles are fantastic. I did, one of the fans just said thank you for the Black Lives Matter conversation. So that's always nice. I might just wait 30 seconds, see if Napier is trying to get back on. But everybody have a great Thanksgiving.
Thank you.
You too. Be safe.
You too.
Yeah,
be safe.
Be safe, everybody.
Be safe.
You will.
So good. I think she is probably gone. I love you all.
Okay, I love you too.
I hope you have fun. This is great. This is so great.
I'm having flashbacks from parties.
Yeah, me too.
Are you going? I'm looking at.
I just want to say,
Lauren, remember we traveled to Boston. I think it was Boston with Peter. Oh, Napier came back. Good.
She did.
Yay! There she is.
Hi, I'm sorry, guys.
That's okay. So tell us.
I think she's frozen again.
I think she's frozen again. So guys, I'm gonna say I'm wishing everyone
Me too.
the happiest and healthiest of holiday season. Please wear a mask, and please be safe. And I just want to I can't wait. It's like, I'm trying not to cry, but where I get to be in the same space with all of you and squeeze you so obnoxiously long, and just tell you how much I adore you and how grateful I am for your contribution to my life. So,
Hey,
I'm going to say,
thanks, everybody.
Wait,
Thank you.
Stay. I'm going to take a picture because Napiera looks great, and we'll pretend she's there smiling with us. I love you guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
I love you too. Thank you, Alan. Thank you. Be well. Be safe.
Okay, everybody. Bye-bye.